Welcome in, citizens. Today I have something really special for you guys. I got to sit down and spend time with the Hooning master himself, Conner-Risnik. If you enjoy these videos and would like to see more of this content, remember to hit that sub button. Leave a comment below if there's a racer you'd like to hear from in the future, or maybe a guide that you're looking for in the verse. I'm well on the way to 1,000 subs and I appreciate every little bit of support. So comment, like, subscribe, and share it with your friends. It is really, truly appreciated. Without further ado, here's the interview. Mr. Conner-Risnik, how's it going?
It's going great, man. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Just very hot in South Africa right now.
Yeah, I bet.
So I have a few questions for you today. And we're going to start off with the most basic one. Can you tell us about yourself?
Sure. I am Conner-Risnik. I'm currently living in the United States Northeast area. Been backing SC since the early days, 2013, playing on and off for pretty much that whole time. Back when I started, I was in the Air Force at the time. I was a crew chief, doing aircraft maintenance. But these days, I am working for a building supplier, and I build exterior doors. But yeah, that's me in a nutshell.
By exterior doors, is it still like plane-based things?
What do you mean?
Like exterior doors of airplanes?
No, for like houses.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah. So I build basically front doors and specialized units like side lights and hinge patio doors to like, and yada yada.
That's pretty cool.
This was more fun, but yeah.
I've actually noticed a trend in the people that I've spoken to. A few people actually come from an actual aircraft background.
Yeah,
so that's pretty cool to see that translating over into the racing scene.
Yeah, there's a couple of us for sure.
So what was your first ship that you pledged? And like, what are you using now as your daily ship?
Ooh, okay. First ship that I pledged was way back. Like I said, 2013. That was a Hornet Ghost. Way back then. I love that ship. I've bought and sold it so many times that track, but yeah, current daily driver. I don't know. That's a hard choice. I guess it really depends on what I'm doing. Because if I'm running cargo, I really like my Connie because I don't typically run a lot of cargo. If I'm mining, I like my Mole. If I'm racing, I mean, that really just depends on what track I'm racing. So, and if I'm doing prep for events or anything. Go ahead.
No.
Oh, that was pretty much where I was going with that. But like the mining thing is actually something I've been looking into. So you reckon Mole over Prospector? I am a huge Argo fanboy. So like, I will take even solo, I will take the Mole over the Prospector any day of the week just because I love Argo. But it also gives me a lot of room to not worry too much about what I'm picking up. So especially for time sensitive stuff like quant, like I can just scoop it all up and not be worried about, oh, well, is this the high percentage chunk of quant, or like, am I getting a bunch of crap? No, don't worry about it. Just hoover it. Sort it out later. So.
Okay. So tell me, how did you get into the Star Citizen racing scene?
Honestly, I can't even remember. It was about a year ago, so I can't even remember what actually got me into it, but I think it was one of Maze's videos on YouTube, that being Black Maze, and I think I ended up coming to the Discord just to see what it was about, and then ended up in my first race, did really terrible, but it didn't matter, because at the end of the day, like the community, especially with XGR, was just so welcoming and helpful. Like, it was pretty much home at that point, so I stayed and here we are.
No, I can completely agree with that. I've done 2 of the exhibition races now with the XGR guys, and even though I've pretty much done like really bad, like maybe I shouldn't be a pilot kind of bad, it's been such a fun experience, especially the cutter exhibition. I think that one mostly because I actually was able to finish.
Oh yeah, no,
even though I think Splin passed me like 6 times.
Yeah, no, I totally get that. It's like that when you start. Racing is daunting. Like, you can be an awesome pilot outside of racing, but until you really get your feet under you inside of a race, and you know how to handle passing, and you know how to handle a lot of people flying in proximity to you, it's kind of nerve-wracking. So, like, I completely understand that it may make you feel like inadequate as a pilot. It made me feel inadequate as a pilot when I first started, but there's so many people in the XGR community, and really the Star Citizen community as a whole, that are just so encouraging and willing to help and get you there and help you improve, that it's a non-issue as long as you're willing to put in the time.
Mm-hmm. How would you go about, like, for a beginner racer, maybe somebody that hasn't been to a race yet? Because I know for myself, the first exhibition I went into wasn't actually the first one that I wanted to enter, but the nerves of going to that first race, what would your advice be for somebody thinking about taking on their first race to get over that really adrenaline-filled nervous rush?
Yeah, so there's a couple things. One, I'd say know the track. Practice it a little bit quite a bit ahead of time if you can. But usually, at least with XGR, we've almost always got practice sessions or people that are willing to jump on and practice with you. And I would very much encourage anybody that's trying to race to definitely, even if there's nothing going on, reach out and say, hey, I'm gonna go practice this. Anybody want to come? Because people will. Another thing I would say is, like, XGR does both formation flight and hooning, which are both kind of proximity based, close flying at speeds. Formation flight's more about maintaining formation, so it's kind of set speeds, and you're really maintaining where you are in relationship to others. But hooning is a lot more along the terms of a race environment, sort of. Without the restrictions of where you need to go, it's a good way to get in, learn how to fly with others in close proximity at speed when you don't exactly know what the other person's going to do. Because
100%.
It's hooning, it's freeform. So
you actually also run the hooning events for XGR. What actually got you into running those?
So, long story short, it used to be Osash's that was running those, but I kind of took over for him because he's a dad. He wants to spend time with his family. You know, running those is time consuming, and so they were happening pretty sporadically, and I, for one, was wanting to do them more, so I reached out to him and I'm like, hey, would you mind if I host some of these occasionally? And occasionally turned into, I kind of took over the role of the resident hooning cat wrangler, so here we are.
The hoon master.
Something like that. I just schedule the stuff and hope people show up.
Oh, I mean, I was at the last one, and it was actually a lot of fun. Although I rubbed bellies with one or more ships a few times.
Oh, don't worry about it. That's half the fun.
But
that's what I'm saying. Like, it gets you close and learning how to fly around other people when you don't know what they're doing.
Oh yeah, 100%. So if there was another beginner pilot, what would you have for them in terms of advice to get started in a hooning space, or even in a low flying space? Because low flying is pretty similar.
Yeah.
Where would you say they need to start? Like ship wise, planet wise?
All right. So couple things. We use Hooning synonymously with low fly or hard fly. It means the same thing. It's just what we at XGR have started calling it due to the Hooning scene in real world automotive. But that being said, anybody trying to get into it, you don't need anything. It doesn't matter how skilled you are. It doesn't matter what you're flying. You can go anywhere in any ship at any level and hoon. It is a very easy environment to get into. As far as places to go, usually stuff like Daymar, where it's lower atmosphere, it can be a little more forgiving. It's lower atmosphere, lower gravity, so you have a little less that you're fighting. But Magda is another good one around Hurston. But any planet, any body is a good place to hoon.
And just so that if we have beginners that are listening, it is possible to do this with mouse and keyboard. You don't need to go all the way and get the flight stick straight away.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we have racers in XGR that are competing at a professional level with mouse and keyboard. Like, it's all about knowing your equipment. You don't have to fly with sticks if you don't want to spend the money or you're not comfortable with it. There's a lot of us that are willing to spend the money and are very comfortable with it, but you don't have to dump that amount of money on it if you're just fine with mouse and keyboard. You can do anything in this game with a mouse and a keyboard.
It's about having fun at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
So are you excited about Pyro coming and the possibilities about the planets on Pyro for hooning and racing?
I am endlessly optimistic about Pyro. I am very excited. Just some of the planet views that they've shown, like the verticality that they've managed to achieve in Pyro is nuts. A lot of I forget which planet it is in Pyro, but there's one that's got a bunch of like stone pillars and whatnot that just looks like it would be a blast to hoon on.
Is it Bloom?
Huh?
Is the planet called Bloom?
I don't know. I don't even know what their names are.
I know there's one planet called Bloom that I've seen a couple of videos from when it was in testing, where people were going crazy, and it looks like it's going to be so much fun. It's the reason I made sure that my arrow didn't get claimed by the update.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, they all look freaking amazing, but I'm very, very excited for Pyro and the future it holds for racing, hooning, and Star Citizen as a whole.
Do you think with Pyro we'll get the engineering, or do you think that's something much later? Because I think the engineering is going to make racing a complete different ball game when it does come.
So there's a lot of work that needs to go into each of those, and they aren't necessarily tied together. So I'd say, because it's two separate teams that are going to be working on it, or that are working on it, but I'd say we probably will get Pyro first, simply because there's a couple systems left that they need to get it working, and they are actively developing those. Resource management, they are going to have to go through and rewire every single ship in this game in order to get that to where it is in a playable state. So I think that one will probably take a little longer than Pyro, but well, time will tell.
I hope not. Like, Pyro needs to come, but I would love the engineering update.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
That's something I'm really looking forward to, especially for things like what was the Crux Cup, where you'll actually need a pit crew now for those pit stops. It's gonna be so cool.
Yep, it's gonna be nuts.
Talking about races, which racetrack is your favorite? But which one are you the fastest on? So if it's the same thing, that's amazing. But so far, it hasn't been the same thing for the people I've spoken to.
Let's see. Favorite. I don't know. I'd have to say Lorville, but not Lorville outskirts. I'm talking Lorville gateways, because that is the track that taught me how to race. But Skyscraper, I think that's what they call the club track now.
Yeah.
Skyscraper is a very good one. At one point, I did hold the number 4 fastest time on that. So I'd say that one's probably the one I am fastest at, though these days it's been a while since I did time trials, so that may have changed. But yeah, probably Skyscraper would be the fastest, and Lorville Gateways before they changed it
the favorite.
Would be the favorite for sure.
So do you do more time trial stuff now or something else?
No, I pretty much just do racing. I was finding that time trials was putting me in a bad headspace, in the sense that I'd show up to races and try to run time trial pace and time trial lines, which is not what you want to do for racing. Racing, you've got to be mindful of others, because time trial is just you. It's you and your fastest lap, the best line you can get, and the most control that you can exhibit on your ship. But with racing, you've got everybody else trying to do that as well. They're trying to get their fastest line. They're trying to be mindful of other racers. And if you are running a time trial pace and line and don't have the clearance to do it in regards to the other racers, you're just going to collide with people. So racing is a lot more about survivability than it is speed. If you can be survivable and consistent, you will do well in racing. It's not all about being fast.
Yeah, 100%. But even in thinking about that, like, for me, when I actually got myself to do the first race that I got in, I did that one coupled, because even now I still struggle quite a bit with the decoupled. But yeah. I think it's not a bad idea for starters to go where they're comfortable first.
Oh, absolutely.
How do you feel about the coupled versus decoupled, though?
I personally only fly in decoupled. I am decoupled exclusive. But for anybody that's trying to figure out decoupled, XGR hosts racing schools, which go through everything from decoupled setup to what things you want to turn off for racing, and a lot of that is practice, like in that racing school setting. So that'll give you a lot of chance to talk with people and really figure out decoupled while you have somebody there to walk you through it. So that might be a good idea to try if that's something you're interested in.
Yeah, you get some drills and things that you can do on your own afterwards as well.
Oh yeah. But yeah, I pretty much exclusively fly decoupled, and the way I ended up doing that is actually rather hilarious. The entire reason I started flying decoupled in Star Citizen is because I didn't like the way that coupled landed, especially in space stations. It was too jerky. I didn't like it. I wanted smooth. So I started flying decoupled. That is literally the reason.
I fly around decoupled. I'm not very good at it, but whenever I need to land, I actually switch to coupled.
Yeah. No, so I'll have to work with you, because you can get some really nice landings, and it's all about knowing where your TVI is, and then you can use space brake, and you can just get silky smooth landings every freaking time, as long as you're paying attention.
Yeah, we'll have to organize some sort of parking landing sort of lesson.
Maybe I'll do that. Set up a landing day.
So, okay, talking about ships so much, right? In your opinion, is it the ship or the pilot that wins the race?
Pilot, 100%. You can stick the best pilot in the crappiest ship, and he will still do well. You cannot put a crappy pilot in a good ship and expect them to do good. It is pilot all the way.
That's actually pretty much the consensus so far. I think I need to stop asking this question. So tell me, what is your favorite memory from the racing scene of Star Citizen?
Oh, that's a tough one to quantify. I don't know, because it's all just one great thing. So I don't really have any like specific like greatest memory. It's all just a compilation of great memories, you know. But I don't know. I think probably if I had to pick something, it would be in my early days when I was working with Shacknew back before, before he even started teaching the racing school. So this was a while ago, like a year and change ago at this point. But the moment that I figured out, like, and really got myself settled into working around my TVI and grinding time trials and getting my lap times down, that the ability to actually do that, when that all finally kind of clicked, that is probably the greatest feeling from racing in Star Citizen, for sure.
Even better than finishing the cutter race with no engines?
I mean, that was pretty spectacular. But yeah, I'd say even better than that.
So obviously, like, you've had some really good times in this, and I think that's a really good segue into the next question.
Okay.
What has racing and the racing scene in the game and its community meant to you as a person, like on a personal level? Has it helped you develop a character, changing traits, or like grow, learn, that type of thing?
Yeah. So, I mean, I've learned a lot, for sure. But the real takeaway for me, it's not even about the racing, really. It's the community, it's the people, it's the friends. It's taught me that really at the end of this day, or at the end of any day, really, we look at this game and it is what it is. It's Star Citizen Alpha, you know. We all know what to expect, but the game is a vehicle. It's not necessarily what makes it great. The people are a huge part of what makes it great. And the communities that sprout around individuals and gather like-minded individuals, and like XGR, that are willing to help other people learn and improve themselves. That's really what it's all about. And back before I joined XGR, I didn't really see it. Like, you know, I had encounters with other players occasionally, whatever, but until I really joined XGR, I didn't get the community aspect of it. Like, it really settled in that this game is about really the friends you make along the way. And it took racing and racing communities in general for that to sink in. But it's been an interesting journey, for sure.
I think that's amazing. I mean, the community in Star Citizen so far has been one of the most supportive and friendly ones by far. And I mean, I'm an old WoW player. Like, I dedicated like 10 years of my life to WoW. I never had this sort of reception or even people talking about the community the way that you do.
Yeah.
The way that everyone does.
Yeah. It's a great group.
Like, thinking of that, then what kind of future do you see for the racing scene and the Hooning scene in Star Citizen? Do you think there's going to be a big explosion once the next update comes out, or maybe even an esport developing for the racing?
Yeah, so we're in the explosion right now. And honestly, like, I see it going fairly far. CIG has shown that they are willing to take the hard work that the players have done out of a passion and implement it into their game and make it a permanent thing, or as Black Maze is a huge fan of the word, canonize the the hard work and love that we have put in on behalf of the game, trying to make something that wasn't necessarily there. And that's only going to get better. We're only going to keep making tracks. We're only going to keep improving things. And I mean, Hooning is hopefully just going to get bigger, better, with more locations to go as soon as we get like Pyro, maybe other systems. It's only up from here, really. Let's see, what else was there in that question? Esports.
Do you think maybe we'll...
Esports,
yeah.
That's what the other part was. So, esport, I mean, I don't know if it'll ever develop to like necessarily the organized esport aspect that you would see in something like Call of Duty. I think there will definitely be organized racing, and it will be at like events, like CitizenCon and the like. But I don't know that it will get to the level of esport, but I hope it does. I really do.
I personally would love to see that. Like, I come from a lot of esports stuff, so for me, that's why I love asking this question. I'd love to know if in the community, if there is that interest to see it go that far.
Yeah, I think it would be pretty awesome, because it's progress, right?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, if you look at Echo's Scarlet Apex and even Crux Cup, they are huge.
Yep.
Huge. It would be amazing to see that kind of stuff happening, even if it's only the championship heats happening on a stage.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Do you take part in any combat races?
So I've kind of stayed away from them. My bread and butter has always been to pit myself against myself. So combat and endurance racing just really hasn't necessarily been my thing. Not that I'm not down to try it. It's just not really what I've been focused on.
Are you going to be trying the Daymar though? The Daymar Rally?
Oh God, no. I don't have the patience for that level of endurance racing. I mean, more power to him. Like, I love watching it, but I could never do it.
Yeah. I'm keen to go and watch. Like, I'm going to find a spectator position somewhere just to watch them go. But maybe I'll have a few beers or something while I watch them do their thing. But 5 hours, I mean, that's one of the shorter runs that I saw.
Oh, yeah.
Can't imagine what it would be for someone like me to go. I mean, I'll probably be there the whole weekend.
Oh yeah, it's a it's a commitment for sure, and that's just 5 hours for the race. Now imagine how many times they have to do it in practice to get the routes that they're gonna take.
Oh yeah, no. See, this is why I like being a spectator.
Yeah, I can understand that.
So, when it comes to like pilots in the community that are actually making waves, which pilots do you like to watch or admire and look up to, and why them?
Oh, there's so many. I definitely, like, right at the top of the list, you've got Shaq and Splend. Those two are the OGs. And from when I started. But you've got so many talented people up at the top. You've got Billboy, and I'm blanking on names here. Hang on a second. Let's see. Oh, Boltalk. Yeah, Boltalk, Splen, and Shaq are really the big three. But you've got Billboy, Durnk, Playing Fox, Deku Des, like, so many absolutely incredibly skilled racers that are really just, it's amazing to see how they do what they do and try to replicate them. Shaq New is pretty much the one that taught me how to race.
That's pretty cool.
Massive respect for Shaq. Splen is just like, he is Splen. He's been doing this for a long time, and it shows. He is an incredibly skilled racer. But Boltok, even though he kind of hides in the shadows, he is probably one of the fastest racers in the game, period. It is really fun to watch his lines when he posts videos and runs. And there's just so much to look up to in this community. Like, there's so many really, really skilled people, and they're all willing to help and talk and help get you sorted.
So, if you had to name one track, either in-game or from SCR or even Arena Commander, what would you say is the most difficult possible track out there?
Okay, I will caveat this. Are we talking 0G or are we talking atmosphere? Because those are two totally different animals.
Well, let's go with one of each.
All right. Let's see. Most difficult Atmo track. I'd say that's going to be probably a toss-up between Yadar and... I'd say probably Yadar and Skyscraper. Because Skyscraper has Waytech that is a very complicated turn to learn. Once you get it, it's fine, but it's a very complicated turn. I'd say Yadar is probably going to beat that out, though, because it's got a low atmosphere, low gravity, and it's a fast track. It's fast, it's very tight, there's verticality involved, there's a lot of management of TVI and directions, a lot of momentum management that goes into that track. So I'd say that one's probably the hardest Atmo. As for the hardest 0G, they're all hard to me because I don't fly 0G. I don't race 0G, but I think just looking at it, Miner's Lament looks absolutely nutty insane hard. Just because there's so many small targets to hit and a lot of G loading that happens. So I'd say that one's probably the hardest in terms of 0G.
Okay. Are there any races or events that happen annually that you look forward to? Like ones that you know, okay, I'm definitely going to be taking part in this one, or I'm definitely going to be at least watching this one?
Yeah. Hands down, the anniversary race for XGR is a blast. I think we had like almost 40 people show up to the last one. So it is a hilariously good time.
The frame rates though.
Oh yeah. It's it's bad, but worth it.
What do you think of the like in-game conventions? Like, did you get a chance to try out the new alien ship, the Sulian?
No, I haven't flown it yet. I'm still not sure what I think about it. But it looks cool. It looks cool. Any ship that's gonna fly like a fire spray, it's got my seal of approval. But I do wish they had done it in a method where it would transform a little bit and not be so clunky looking, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's almost like a traffic cone.
yeah, that's a good way to look at it.
So okay, so looking at ships, if you could give a suggestion to whether it's a first-time player or a veteran player, they had a starter ship in their hangar that they were willing to upgrade, what would you suggest they upgrade to, and why?
Well, I guess that would depend entirely upon what they are doing.
Let's say it's a general daily ship.
General daily? How high are we considering starters here?
Let's say up until the Titan Avenger range, so like a $85 that they've got.
So if you're looking for a general purpose from that, my instinct says Connie, but that's a huge jump. So let's see. Go to the pledge store and get some looks here. So coming off of the, I don't know, let's say an Avenger Titan. What's really going to be good upgrades for you in terms of general use, the Nomad's not much of an upgrade. I'd still kind of consider that a starter, but it's like the higher end of the starter spectrum. Cutlass is usually an option that's thrown around a lot, because it can do everything. You can fight in it, you can run cargo, it does it all. It's multi-crew.
What do you think Cutlass versus the C1 series, whether it's the Spirit or the A1?
I don't know, because I like the Spirits more personally, because I'm not a huge Drake fan, but I think they're pretty evenly matched. My go-to for that size of ship in running things is the Raft, because I love my Raft. Best interior in the game. But
I actually haven't looked at that one.
Oh, it's fantastic. Absolutely amazing. I love it so much.
Do you think that the Zeus is gonna shake things up even more when it comes out?
I hope so. I hope so. I love it. It's a Dorito with winglets. I love it so much.
That's actually the best description. Which are you planning on picking one up, or have you picked
I've
one
already
up
got
already?
One. Yeah, I've already got
Which one did you go for?
I think I got the CL. Though if they do release that slightly oopsed racing variant, I'm probably going to buy one depending on what that actually quantifies. So
I think that would be very cool.
Yeah, if it's actually a racer or if it's like a racing transporter or whatever. But I will probably buy one. But yeah, I mean, general purpose, I'd say, yeah, probably either if we're going up to like, let's say $150. We don't know what the Zeus is going to do yet, so I'd say probably stick in either like a Freelancer or a Cutlass or maybe a C1. Because those all have options to do multiple roles.
So speaking of multiple roles, besides the racing and the hooning, what other gameplay loops do you fill the gaps with? Like what's your go-to if there's no race to prepare for?
Probably mining to make money for my racing, but I also love mining. So that would probably be the big one. I do some cargo running, but that usually ties in with what I have mined and going to sell it. So at the end of the day, it's probably just mining.
Okay. And we're already at the final question. I've been really enjoying this chat with you.
Yeah, it's been fun.
Where can people find you, your organization, or your content?
So I am on YouTube. I pretty much only upload Hoon videos and like time trial stuff if and when I'm doing it. But that being said, though the organization itself is not mine, I am a part of XGR, which is at racexgr.com. Of course, links for all this will be in the description, I'm sure.
Yep.
But from there, you can get into the Discord, and we're welcoming to everybody. Just bring a willing attitude to learn and be ready to have fun. But those are the two big ones. Just those.
That's awesome. I've really enjoyed having a chat with you. I hope we can do it sometime in the future. Sometime in the near future.
For sure, man. Thanks for having me.
No, thank you, dude. That was my chat with Conner-Risnik himself. Remember to leave a like, a subscribe, and a comment below with a racer that you'd like to hear from, or if you'd like to be on the show. Thank you so much for all of your support. I really, truly appreciate it. Until next time, citizens, farewell.